of Zelda, Ramble, series Ramble. These are the only three Zelda games I own at the moment. Link's Awakening on the Switch, Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, and Twilight Princess on the Wii. But I obviously have experience. I've played a bunch of Zelda games. Oddly enough, I haven't completed a ton of Zelda games. But in this ramble, I'll talk about my experience with the games and stuff like that. My personal history with the games. It obviously started with Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo, the original Nintendo. I had that one, and I had Adventures of Link as well, the second one for the NES. I don't believe I ever completed either one of those. The first one was like kind of groundbreaking at the time, just because it was very open. Like you could get to places early, like you could do all types of stuff right out of the gate. It was weird stuff, like you'd have to like burn a certain bush, and a thing would appear. Hidden passageway would appear. You're bombing walls. But it was really cool, and it was open. You're going around, the classic music's playing. You walk wherever you want, then you go in the guy, you get the sword, and everything like that. And you have to find, and back then on the Nintendo games, stuff would be weird. Like, you couldn't look up online what to do next and stuff. And I think there were some strategy guys back then, but I don't know how many. Or you might have to forget. Actually, Nintendo Power, I don't even think was out when Zelda came out. I think Nintendo Power started in 1988. You'd have to call their tip line, I guess. But it was very open, like a great kind of adventure game. And you had classic enemies in there and stuff. I forget their names. The Akko something is one of them. I forget all their names though. Like I said, I'm not a massive Zelda fan. There's a few games in this series I absolutely love, and there's some of my all-time favorites, but I'm not like super into it. But obviously plays Link, Zelda's the princess. But like I said, that first one was so kind of groundbreaking just because you could wander around, and you would need to get the other items and stuff, typical stuff you get in the Zelda games, boomerangs and stuff like that. You do get a bow and arrow, I believe, in the first one. Even I don't think you get a hook shot in the first one. Maybe you do. I haven't played that one in so long that I don't know. But a classic game for sure. The Adventures of Link was kind of interesting because it changed it up completely. Like you walk around the overworld, but when you went into dungeons and other things, into towns and stuff like that, it would be like a side scroller. So it was completely different in that sense. I don't know. I can't remember if Zelda's asleep in this one or something. I can't remember. Ganon is obviously her main bad guy. In almost all of them. Like I said, I don't know a ton about the Zelda universe. But like I said, I'm talking about my experience with the games. But Link was such a departure from the first one. It was still kind of cool from what I remember, but it was totally different. Because the first one was not side-scrolling, literally. It was just like a top-down view, and you just go wherever you want. I think some places you couldn't get to unless you had certain items. And that was the cool thing about the Zelda games. There's always a sense of accomplishment in Zelda games. When you pick up a new item and then you could use it to get to a new area you couldn't get to, it did that so well. And it still does it, although now it's the open world stuff. But this one, this is a remake of the Game Boy game and the Game Boy Color game. And this one still has that. This has like the over top-down view. And you still find the items, you get new things and stuff. This is actually a really fucking cool game. I had never played it on the Game Boy or the Game Boy Color. I've not played a lot of, I don't think I've played time. Usually from testing them when I got them garage sales, like Phantom Hourglass. I'll get to that actually a little bit. Like Oracles of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Those were developed by Capcom, actually, I think. Those were Game Boy Color games, too, I believe. And Minish Cap is one I always wanted to play. The Game Boy Advance one's supposed to be really good. I'm watching this cat trying to squeeze her way into something she can't get into. And there was Ford Swords Adventures, which is, I think, just Link to the Past again, with like a multiplayer component. That was also on the GameCube. But after the two on the NES, you got Link to the Past, which is my personal favorite in the series. It's such an awesome game, and like, if you were playing games back then or alive back then, when you went from those first two, and then you saw Link to the Past, you were like, oh my god, like the graphical jump from 8-bit to 16-bit was mind-blowing. Still looks really nice to this day. 16-bit games, in my opinion, still hold up just because, they're just sprites and stuff. But it was that one was awesome. It had the great opening part where it's like, here we go, I forget how it goes, the little jingle, and then it would go, same thing. Yeah, that one, you wake up and your uncle's like, you gotta go. So your uncle says you gotta go save Zelda from the castle. And then you get into the overworld, and then there's like the other, I forget what they call it, the dark world or the other world. Because I think Ganon in that one, like, actually gets control, like, halfway through the game, similar to a Final Fantasy III, although that would have come after Zelda. Similar to that, halfway through Final Fantasy III, Kefka actually, like, destroys part of the continent or the planet or whatever it is, the game world and stuff, and then you gotta deal with all that shit. But this was similar. You went to like dark world. I think you went through like a mirror or something. Like I said, I can't remember a lot of this, but I just remember loving that one. Zora. That's like the fish people. And the Gorgon. I think all the Gorgons, I forget. But same thing, you're finding new items to go places and stuff. And that's what's cool about the Zeldas. You had this one. I'm gonna bounce all over the place here. Breath of the Wild, I only played like 5 or 6 hours. This, honestly, in my honest opinion, like, I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I don't know. Maybe, like, I was like, oh shit, cool, open world Zelda. And then I was kind of like, I almost would rather be a little more linear while still being open. But if anything, I might end up picking this up on the Switch at some point. I know the second one came out. I haven't played it, Tears of the Kingdom, but and play it on there because I was enjoying some of this, but I'm not gonna bust out the Wii U now and hook it back up to play it. But yeah, Link to the Past, I believe that was the only one. Yeah, those weird CDI on the Super Nintendo, those weird CDI games that were developed by like Philips that everybody hates. And then you get Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64. You had Link's Awakening, I think would have been before that. That's on the handheld though. Ocarina of Time's another one of my favorite games. That's one of the ones in Link to the Past as well, Zelda games that I've actually completed. And that one was just another groundbreaking game. When you played it, you're like, holy crap. That one has Ganondorf in it, and then he turns into a giant thing at the end. You fight him on like the top of a tower. But it's always Zelda's involved. Ocarina of Time's got the time travel stuff, and you get the Ocarina, obviously you play the different songs, and you go to different stuff. So you're using young Link, and then he's older and stuff. That one's awesome. Like, and at the time, it looked incredible. I'd like to actually get that one again on the Nintendo 64 and actually play it because it's not actually expensive. And no, Link to the Past isn't that pricey either. I was looking at Link to the Past, like 30, you can get it for like $35, $40. In my opinion, it's a good deal. And same thing with Ocarina of Time, it's like $30, $35. So that one was awesome though. Like I said, there's Minish Cap on the Game Boy Advance. I don't know if there's any other Game Boy Advance ones outside of the Four Sword Adventures. There might have been more. Like I said, I don't know enough about the handhelds. But Ocarina of Time was amazing. Like, I just love that game. Once again, the sense of accomplishment, getting stuff. And that one, I think, was they Gorgons or something, what they call it. They live up in the mountains, and then Zora's like the fish people are in like the water temple. And that's the thing with the Zelda games. It's always dungeons you have to go through, and you're defeating the boss at the end. I should have probably said this earlier. And that's when you usually get a new item, and then those items are used to usually defeat other bosses and stuff like that. There were temples in Ocarina of Time, and you get a little bit of Ganondorf's backstory in that one too. Like when he was like, I forget what he was. Because what's the person in Ocarina of Time? Sheik, and that's actually Zelda in disguise. So Zelda's got a little more. Zelda started to get more involved in the storylines in the game. She played more of a major part. That one. And there's always like hidden secrets and stuff, and you're getting your rupees to buy stuff. Like I said, you're bombing walls and you're finding things and stuff like that. There's the fairies who will give you new hearts, and that's what I think you get. You always get more hearts as you beat them. You get pieces. You have to get the pieces of Triforce. Another thing I should have mentioned. But when you get your hearts, you find heart pieces, and then you get more hearts in your level. You know, your hits go up. Your hit points, we'll call them, go up. Usually you can get them. I think you'll get full ones at points, and then other ones you get quarter ones, and then you get 4 of them and stuff. But there's fairies that will refill your stuff, and you get bottles and stuff. And I think in Ocarina of Time, it introduced you can catch like bugs and stuff like that. And you can do different things, like I said, and different items came into play across the series. And then Majora's Mask came out, which was another different one, almost in the vein of like Adventures of Link. It changed it up. Graphics were still the same, but this one was actually on a timer, and I did not beat this one either. Like the moon's gonna crash into the earth in this one. You get different masks in this one, like give you different powers, I believe. And you had a certain amount of time to do it, but I think you could actually gain time or something. Like I forget how it works. Like I said, I didn't play a ton of it. I thought it was a cool idea, but I just, this happens a lot of games. If I lose interest, I stop playing. Might be another one I try to give a go. I know they redid both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. They put out 3D version. Well, they were 3D originally, but they put out remastered versions on the 3DS. I think they added some features and stuff like that. Those are really cool. And then you went to the GameCube and you got Wind Waker, which is another departure. And I love Wind Waker. That's another departure from it. It has the cel-shaded look, and I think it looked gorgeous. That game, even the original one, looks great. And I had that one on the GameCube for a bit, and then I had it again on the Wii U. I don't anymore. And that was in HD, but it already looked amazing just because from the art style. But that one was on the open water. I forget what the lion boat was on that was called. But you would travel from like island to island. Same thing. You're going into dungeons and stuff. But you're exploring and finding shit. There's like other ships out on the sea you can blow up with little cannon and stuff. And you can actually drop a little crane down and pick up items. If you get to a certain point, I think the controller shook or something. And there was like a treasure down there. I loved Wind Waker. I thought it was really cool. And you meet the pirate girl who actually ends up being Zelda. I'm pretty sure, right? But Wind Waker was fantastic. It looked great. There was other stuff too, where like you could mail letters and stuff like that. I think that was that one. And then they did that same graphical style. Didn't look as good, but they did it in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks on the Nintendo DS. I know you could use the styles to like do stuff. I think one of them maybe was Phantom Hourglass. You really had to use the styles a lot. Like I said, I didn't play these that much outside of really testing them when I get them garage sales. Spirit Tracks involved a train to get around, I believe, and stuff. So they have had the presence on Nintendo's handhelds and obviously their main consoles. And then Twilight Princess came out. It was supposed to just be. They did the same thing with Breath of the Wild. It was supposed to just be on the GameCube, but then they pushed off and delayed it until the Wii came out so they can get the Wii version out as well. They did the same thing with the Wii U with Breath of the Wild. They waited for the Switch to come out so they can get it out on there as well. I didn't beat this, but I played a bunch of it originally when I had my Wii. Honestly, I would have preferred that on the GameCube. I wasn't a huge fan of the control scheme with having to use the Wii remote. worked well, but I feel like it would have been better with just a regular controller. And to me, this was so much like Ocarina of Time. I don't know, but I do actually want to go back and play more of this. I remember getting like the iron boots or the magnetic boots at one point. I actually played a good amount of this. But this one you go into, I guess, I don't know if, I forget her name. I don't know if she ends up being Zelda. A lot of the times these characters end up being Zelda. But it had like the Twilight type world and stuff. I think you can turn into a wolf in this. When you're in like the other. Yeah, Sage Search for Clues is a sacred wolf when unnatural twilight blankets Hyrule. I remember this game out. I just remember this because Jeff Gershman reviewed this game and he gave it an 8.8, which is a phenomenal score, and people literally wanted to kill him. I am not kidding. It was crazy. Over an 8.8, okay? Reviews back then were weird, and even before that, like, people would see an 8, and even though it's a great score, they would be like, oh my god, what the fuck? Because Zeldas, I guess, are supposed to get 10s every time, you know? I played some of this, and I enjoyed it, but I would have preferred different controls. I got this one from my mom, actually, when I was down in Florida one time. She had a Wii, and she's like, oh, you can just take some of the games. I was like, oh, I'll take this. But yeah, I thought that was funny that people lost their shit because he gave it an 8.8. That's how people were back then. I don't know if they still are with reviews, but people flipped out over an 8.8 and literally wanted him to die. It was fucking weird. Kind of scary. But yeah, they also made Skyward Sword, which I have never played that game. I remember that getting not a bad review once again, but decent reviews and people flipping out about that. People flip out as Zelda getting like not amazing scores. It's weird. I never played any of Skyward Sword. That's actually one I'd like to play. Did they make a remaster for that on the Switch? Maybe I'll pick it up on Switch. I think they did, right? It wasn't on the Wii U, was it? No, I think it was on the Switch. But that was the second Wii one. I think I had the Link's crossbow training, but whatever. I'm not gonna talk about that. And then it was Breath of the Wild after Skyward Sword. Well, there's also Link's A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS, which looked really cool. I think that was kind of a remake of Link to the Past, but you could like go into like almost like a painting type thing. Like I said, I don't know. It looked really cool though, actually. I don't know if there was any others on the 3DS outside of those two remasters or up-res ones from the 2 and 64 games, and I know there was A Link Between Worlds. I don't know if there's another one. Like I said, I might be forgetting some other ones too on the handhelds. I don't know a ton of it. And then you got Breath of the Wild, which took it into a giant open world. Zelda games were open worldy always, but this one was like a massive, massive open world. We could do all types of stuff. Like I said, I didn't play a ton of it, and I can't even remember much. It has that kind of cel-shaded type of look, though, that Wind Waker had, except it's not a Toon Link. That's what they called him, Toon Link. It's such a different look. I dug it, though. Like I said, I might pick this up on the Wii U, too, at some point and play it on there instead. I mean, on the Switch. I don't know. I forget when I got this, like 2018 or something. It was after it come out, I think, right? When did this come out? In 2017 it came out, so I think I got it in 2018. But unfortunately, those are the only 3 games I own. There's a few I would like to pick up, and like I said, I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. And then there's Hyrule Warriors as well, which is the Dynasty Warriors style Zelda game. I think they made 2 of those. Right, was there a second one? There was a second one of those, I believe. I don't know what it's called. Like I said in the beginning, I don't have like a ton of experience with Zelda. The one I have experience with are the NES ones, A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time are the ones I know the most of, and I played a lot of Wind Waker as well, but it's been so long. A lot of these games. So there's probably other ones I'm forgetting. Possibly, I don't know. But the ones I do still want to pick up is Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64. I want to get a copy of Link to the Past because that's my favorite one. I wouldn't mind getting Wind Waker again, but the problem is it's on the Wii U. And the problem is, like, I don't want to. I almost had to get on the GameCube. It's probably like $100. Because I don't want to set the Wii U up. I guess I could at some point. But yeah. And Skyward Sword, I wouldn't mind playing. If anybody's played Skyward Sword, let me know how it is. Because I think it takes place up in like the sky, actually, right? And you like jump out and like kind of go down skydiving to other areas and stuff. It looked kind of interesting, honestly, but I don't think I had a Wii at the time that game came out. Like I said, I'm not a massive Zelda fan. I like it, and I have that book. Like I said, these are the only 3 ones I have. I really love this one. This is obviously the other one. I forgot to kind of talk about this. This is the remake of the Game Boy Color one. And this one's weird. I think whoever originally made this like threw in like chomps from Super Mario Brothers are in there and stuff. This one's like a little weird. But same thing though, you're getting different items and then you can access different areas and stuff like that. You get a little further. And it has such a cool look as well. This one added in somewhere you could make dungeons. I need to finish this. As well as Luigi's Mansion 3. But yeah. Skyward Sword I wouldn't mind getting, depending on the price. Or if they have the HD one, I wouldn't mind just getting that. I'll have to look that up. I'll just pop on Amazon real quick just to get an idea of prices. Although Amazon's not the one you really want to. That's not the end all be all in prices. Sometimes Amazon's ridiculous. But I'm just curious to see like what some of these games are selling for. I would say that I will do it soon. Say like an eBay browsing video. I was gonna do it on my phone, kind of look over prices and stuff, and talk about them. Let's see what some of these prices are. Breath of the Wild's $50 on the Switch. Oh, there it is. Alright, so they did make it. $48.69 on here. Skyward Sword HD. Maybe I'll pick that up. There's the show. Let's not forget the Legend of Zelda show from back in the day. I had such a crush on freaking Zelda and the show when I was a kid. It was kind of a cool show, but it's cheesy. A lot of people hate it. I thought it was alright. There's Link's Awakening, so Skyward Sword. It's not overly expensive. There's that book I have, 25. An official sticker book. That's actually kind of cool. What does that mean? Like, can you get stickers for it? Doesn't have pictures of it. It just calls it a sticker book. I'm gonna have to look at reviews on that. I would assume you're collecting stickers for, but where would you get them? Oh, it has all types of stuff in there. I guess it's not. I'm thinking it's one of those sticker books they give you, like when you get those ones for basketball and stuff, and you can get the sticker packs, and you gotta put them in there. Maybe I'll get Skyward Sword. Pick that up at some point soon. Let me know if anyone's played that. Let me know how it is. I wish I could have rambled more in depth about Zelda. I'm just, like I said, I like Zelda, and I like what it is, but I'm not like an overly crazy fan about it. That's more like my Silent Hill thing, but I do like games in the series quite a bit. I always appreciate them. Even if I don't play them, I'll watch some videos on them and stuff. But yeah, it's just a request here. Legend of Zelda Ramble, series Ramble, and thanks for checking this out.